live? Are we rolling on the internets? Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It is 6 p.m. according to the Apple phone, and it is Tuesday, August 12th. We will call this meeting to order. As of right now, all members are present with the exception of Nick Geiser, and we do have 3 new commissioners that we'll discuss here in a minute. But if you can for now, if you will stand up with me, I'll say a quick prayer for us, and Kevin will lead us in a pledge. God, thank you again. We get this opportunity every month to come here and just make decisions for the city that we all love. We thank you for these new members that are willing to put their time and effort into helping to make this a better place to live, work, and play. God, we ask that you bless us all to have good weeks. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And if y'all could, please put your phones on silent and kind of minimize some distractions if we can. First item is going to be approval of the minutes from the July 8th meeting. Has everybody had a chance that was here to review those?
Make a motion to accept.
Motion by Kevin, second by Marshall. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Those will be forever in the annals of history. No old business, so we're going to jump into new business. The first item, 4A, is going to be a new planning commission member orientation. We do have 3 new members that will be introduced and kind of go over some procedural stuff with them and what it means to be on the planning commission. So I don't know who's taking over here.
Where do you want to do that one?
I see everybody pointing fingers at everybody else, so this should be fun.
I guess so. All right.
Wade drew the short straw.
Ready to be trained.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Planning Commission for the new folks and the returning ones also. I think just to give you a brief overview of what the Planning Commission does. Some of y'all may have like grander ideas that deals with a lot of comprehensive plans and big area plans and things like that. But for the most part, the Planning Commission deals with a lot of subdivisions, really the nuts and bolts of developing land in Ocean Springs and making sure it meets our high standards for development. Make sure that the zoning is how the community wants it to be. What we've passed out to you, I think on your flash drives, is both with the Unified Development Code in it. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the 2010 Comprehensive Plan is in there. And also just a short memo from the American Planning Association kind of gives some ideas how to make decisions, how to look at proposals that are before you. Basically, who benefits from the proposal, who is harmed by it, and who is left out of it completely. That's just some good way to think through proposals that are put to you. I think that sums up what we wanted to say about the orientation. If you have questions about what the Planning Commission does, I think also on that flash drive are the sections from the Unified Development Code that lists what the responsibilities and duties of the Planning Commission are. As the UDC is written, the sections dealing with the Planning Commission are spread out through 2 or 3 chapters. That one section just compiles it all into one, so you can kind of see what the Planning Commission, what type of proposals and applications it looks at. That kind of almost sums it up, I think. We'll answer any kind of questions you might have about what y'all do on a meeting by meeting basis. Thank you.
Y'all have any questions for Wade while we're on this matter? The only thing I'd want to add, Wade, is just a reminder that we are a recommending body and that nothing that we do or say or vote on is ever final until the board ratifies or votes on it. So
Good point. That's correct.
just kind of keep that in mind. I mean, it doesn't change how we operate or whatever, but there is always that second layer of review, for lack of a better word. So, y'all got any questions? I think trial by fire is probably the best way to do it, right?
I think so. Luckily, tonight's agenda, as I recall, are some, I think there's a couple of subdivision final plats and one rezoning that at least looks pretty straightforward from given the area, and one short-term rental. Such that really, when you look at it, tonight's agenda is a pretty good representation of what typically the planning commission looks at.
Yeah, several different types of topics, and yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
Is there pretty much no issue with us asking questions as we go through these to make sure we understand, like when we use terms like final plat, that probably means something to everyone. But to make sure that we understand it, hey, I think final means, hey, this is it and it's done, right?
The way the format usually works is that staff will make a presentation to y'all about the request, explain to you what the core of it is, who's doing it, where it's located, and after that point, typically it's opened up to the proponent, the applicant, to make a statement, and then for any opposition to say something, and then if you have questions, if y'all as planning commission members have questions for either us or the applicant also, that's the time to do it. But yeah, absolutely, if you have any questions whatsoever, that's an opportunity to do that, to get familiar with what exactly is being requested.
Yeah, and Clay, procedurally, I talk way more than I should, but I'll try to, and I'll actually, usually we'll kind of let them present, and I'll actually say, commissioners, do y'all have any questions for staff before we talk to the public? And then I'll usually try to say any questions for the public, so I'll try to do it a little more intentionally tonight for sure. But yeah, procedurally, I'll try to guide the meeting, and then, but yeah, I mean, I would say that is your charge, is to ask questions. I mean, if we don't understand it, then who does, right? So no, please do. Very highly encouraged.
Hey, we got somebody that takes notes for us. Is you're taking notes for us?
I'm
Okay.
taking minutes, yes,
Thank
sir.
you. All right, good deal.
So, I'm not interested in it. So we have a chairman and a vice chairman and.
Correct.
Yeah, and what we usually we'll vote on that next meeting, correct?
Correct.
Usually whenever we get a new flush of people, we wait one meeting to kind of let everybody see what's going on, and then we'll re-vote on them. But yeah, we'll have, is it president's not, what do we call it? Chairman, vice chair, and secretary. So, yeah.
Question?
Anything else? Jennifer, you got anything?
Good, thank
Okay.
you.
Y'all good? All right, well, let's move on to our first item, and like I say, we'll get a little trial by fire. So first item is going to be 4B. It's going to be a Spring Plaza subdivision, 1515 Bienville Boulevard. Parcel ID number is 612-650-111000. They are requesting approval for a commercial subdivision final plat. So Wade, I assume, are you telling us, or Amanda, or Elizabeth?
Well, this time. I was trying to get the computer to work to put a lot of stuff up, but unfortunately I couldn't. But this is a final plat of Spring Plaza subdivision. It is an existing building already on this parcel. What they're wanting to do is take the building and divide it into 3 sections. Mainly due because Aldi is coming in and they want to have their utilities, to themselves and things like that. It did go before the sketch plat and preliminary plat approvals, the planning commission, which is you guys, on June 10th, 2025. And also went before the Board of Aldermen, July 1st, 2025. So those were approved. We've had no public comment, no feedback or anything like that. Signs were put out, mailers were not required for this, so we didn't put out mailers, but we did put a sign out on 7/7/25.
And I would just add also that the recommendations that the planning commission made regarding access, easements, and utilities, they followed through on that, and that is shown on the final plat that's in front of you.
On those easements, do any commissioners, including new commissioners named Jennifer, have any questions?
Yeah, on here it said, thank you. It said it was a private covenants. So,
Yes, they are The covenants are private. On the plat itself, the covenants deal with a lot of things in terms of other tenants that can go into the shopping center, maintenance of the easements and such. And the plat itself, which is what y'all are actually voting on, and we'll go to the board, includes, it identifies the parking area and those easements and the access drives as common area.
Okay, because it says private easements that can be changed by owners. That's the reason why I bring that up.
Yeah, that's under their private covenants.
Okay.
That'll be something that the owners, will be responsible for and able to do, such as, like say, the mix of tenants. But the requirements for common area, common open space, that is something that will be under the purview of the city.
Okay, oh yeah, I was
So
just
they can-
concerned
they-
about
they-
parking. If they would, I didn't want to make sure they can go and change their parking since it said private, that they could change it on their own. So the parking falls under the city.
Park falls under the city. Any changes to that plat itself and the conditions on it would have to come back to y'all and then also to the Board of Aldermen.
Okay, that's clarified, thank you.
We were talking earlier about that, and in my understanding, in my world, it is all three owners would have to agree to any change. It's not like one owner can just go change an easement that three people had signed, right? So there's that added protection that you can't do what you want to do unless I'll agree that you can do it, so. Okay.
Same thing, so the parking area is gonna be recorded as that whole shopping center.
Yeah, that's why the actual building is in white and the parking lot and the easements in the back are shaded in gray, because that is all the common area. Basically what they're trying to subdivide is the building itself versus the parking lots and having lines down them. It's all gonna be, everything in gray is common.
And they can't, the way it's set up, they can't identify, this parking belongs to this lot, this parking belongs to that lot. It's all common for the benefit of all the tenants.
I'm glad you said that about the gray, because I didn't catch that. And I will add, I think I mentioned it to her, but I've cut my teeth in my business doing a lot of Kroger work, and Kroger, this is exactly what they would want to do. So I do know this is relatively common to have, one building with, spreading across multiple lots, so. Okay. Any other questions for staff?
I got a question, it's probably an elementary question, but in the packet, it lists several things that the UDC is requesting that the final plat has to show. And I noticed that a lot of it has to do with elevations. And just me like zooming up and looking on the plat, I don't see all this elevation. And maybe it's there and I just don't see it. Have y'all looked at it and made sure that it complies with these 7 things that are in the packet from the UDC?
In terms of, I think, is it the finished floor elevation of that?
It's the finished floor is number 7, but up on number 6, it talks about, the benchmarks, the top mark elevation, which I'm assuming is for like water runoff and knowing how far above sea level you are. But that may be a misunderstanding that I have.
Yeah, I know. Typically, those are things that would be required to look at if it were raw ground being developed. In this situation, which is, it's an existing subdivision, existing development,
Right.
already constructed so that the drainage already.
It sort of exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It actually affects the next one as well. Like it said, we have this listing of things you need from UDC, but then on the plat, it can't find where it says this is how far out above sea level. It just seems like from a runoff situation, you might want to know that information.
What page are you on the EDC?
It's, if you look at the packet, it's page,
It's on page 6 in your.
page 6, yeah. And let me ask, while they're looking, let me ask a second question. Is there any negative from the city's perspective from, like tax revenue, from there being 3 different plats versus 1 plat?
really couldn't speak to it from a tax revenue perspective. I mean, that's not something that we typically would be looking at.
This looks like
But
survey. This is all survey.
the buildings are all existing.
He's asking for the benchmark.
So from that perspective, I don't think it would change anything. But again, that's not something,
That we were, but I got you. I was just looking for a negative that.
if this is all existing, so it's would likely to be consistent.
I would say the elevations mentioned, I think, are actually specific to the benchmark. It's just, I was trying to scroll around and find the benchmark on here. I do see, to your point though, it does, I think it says something about FFE, finished floor elevation, which I don't see on here, but that should be pretty easy to add. And I would think that's something we could even just make a recommendation. If we're gonna vote to approve it, we may just wanna make the recommendation to approve if they add the finished floor elevations to the plat. We have the ability to kind of add those little tags or whatever to the
Okay. Or does it go back to the engineer to modify it?
Yeah. I mean, something like that shouldn't take 2 minutes, So that's a good note.
Wait, is there a survey that goes along with this? Like, when the original, the original build, there's gotta be a survey that has those elevations and markers and everything.
I would think so. I would think that the original building permits
Right.
would have that. So that's something that should be able to be found. We wouldn't necessarily have that available to ourselves, but that's something that they.
Yeah, I picked a great day not to bring my reading glasses.
You don't like the old man trick where you
With-
zoom in with your phone? Zoom in with your phone?
Yeah.
But yeah, to further discuss that, Clay, I don't think I've ever seen a final plat that shows like contour elevations on it. I think they're just saying, so the benchmark is kind of the basis for where everything came from and all, and that's really what they're asking for. But you're right, it does say finished floors, so I do think we'd be wise to go ahead and get that on there too. And I do see some benchmarks kind of called out here too, so we'll clean that up. All right, do you have anything else? Anything else for staff? All right, we do, even though this is not a public hearing, we do welcome the public to speak. If anybody in the audience is interested in the item for the final plat of the old Winn-Dixie Shopping Center, now's your chance. I didn't expect any comments, but I'll do a 1, 2, 3. Anybody? 1, 2, 3. All right, we don't have any comments. Any other questions for staff or talk amongst ourselves, or does anybody have a recommendation on a motion?
There's no comments. Make a motion to recommend approval of the final plat of Spring Plaza subdivision located at 1515 Bienville Boulevard, provided that the final floor elevation is added to the plat.
Okay, I have a motion by Kevin, I have a second by Marshall. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. So if you're in the audience for that, understand that the board should hear that at their September 2nd meeting for final approval. All right, item 4C, Marta's Place, 4005 Government Street. Parcel ID number is 601-270-30040. Requesting approval for a minor subdivision final plat of a 2-lot subdivision, Rowland and Marta Williams. Who's telling us about that one? Go ahead.
The applicant is requesting approval for the final plat of Marta's Place, a minor subdivision containing 2 lots. The sketch and preliminary plat were approved by you guys, the Planning Commission, on June 10th, 2025, and the Board of Aldermen on July 1st, 2025. This subdivision was brought before y'all before, due to time passing and them not recording it with Jackson County. That is why we're back here again to ask for the same division of parcels that we did in 2007. There was no public feedback or comment received, and also 2 signs were put out on the property as well. No public notices were needed, no letters were needed, but we did put signs out.
Okay. So I'm going to ask a question partially for my benefit, but also for the new commissioners. So typically when we have a piece of land that's only going to 2 parcels, we have something just called a lot split. It's very quick and easy. This had to be platted because this had actually been I believe I have it in here, but this had actually been previously split.
Yeah.
And you can only do that once.
Throughout history, a parcel can only be split technically one time. But that's why they have the minor subdivision where you can split it again, you just have to get approval to split it. Where a regular lot split would be done in-house if it meets all the requirements of that lot or that zoning.
And my understanding is the reason we only allow one lot split is to prevent people from creating a 40 lot subdivision by just splitting it one at a time. So, y'all understand kind of that idea? There's an easy way to divide your land in half, but you only get one bite at that apple.
Can you do another minor subdivision?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but
you just have to
It's a
go before
minimum.
planning commission, and you will have to go before board of aldermen, where just the lot split, the first lot split, if, like I said, if they meet all the requirements of that zoning, we just do in-house and y'all never see it.
and the only thing I would change is you said can you do, but I would say you absolutely have to do. If you want to redivide it after you've done it once, you have to, instead of you can do, you have to, so. Okay, any other questions for staff? Okay, did anybody, or is the applicant here? Did y'all want to speak? You don't necessarily have to. We'll give you another chance if anybody comes up and says anything negative, so defer to the end, okay. Anybody else in the audience want to speak to the 4005 Government Street final plat? 4005 Government, once, twice sold, okay, we don't have any comments. Do I have any other questions, comments, concerns from commissioners?
Just one, I guess housekeeping, does the final have to be sealed by the surveyor, I guess?
To be recorded in the,
Can it be,
to be recorded in the courthouse, it will have to be, but I think it's pretty common that we get a, I don't want to say draft, but a unexecuted final copy. Unless you see it differently, right, Wade?
Yeah, no, there's, a lot of engineers say, well, until this final, they're not gonna put their seal on it.
Yeah.
So this
I'm
one's,
one of them.
Yeah, I thought
so this one, since it's not a finished property, you know, it wouldn't apply that we needed a finished floor elevation. You don't think? Yeah.
No, I wouldn't think so. I thought I'd seen something addressed in that already. Is there an existing house on either of those lots? Is there? Okay. We may want to get it done. Okay, so there is one, so we may want to get that on there.
Yeah, do not necessarily match required floor elevations. That's in that number 12 in the notes. At the very end.
Is that required for the one that they're splitting off? Because it's actually single-family residence and they're splitting off something that doesn't have a dwelling.
You wouldn't have to do it on the one that doesn't have it. Yeah, but there's no finished floor to do. That's kind of that's an interesting catch from Old Clay, because that's usually the final plat doesn't have a finished, usually the final plat doesn't have a building on it, so usually there's not a finished floor on it. But we just happened to find two today that do. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? And if not, does anybody want to take a stab at a motion?
No comments? All right. Make a motion to recommend approval of the final plat of Marta's Place, a minor subdivision located at 4005 Government Street.
second?
Got a motion by Kevin, I had a second by Marshall, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So that also will go to the second, September 2nd, the first board meeting after this one. That does go to it doesn't go to next week's, does it?
No, because it's not a public hearing. Well, actually, it can go the next week, because it's not a public hearing.
Okay, well then I misspoke on the first one too then, so it can actually go to a week from today, right? I tell you what, somebody from planning's gonna let you know exactly which meeting it's gonna be on tomorrow, right?
We can do that, yes.
Go ahead.
I'll call you.
Oh, that was the preliminary plat that the Alderman approved the last meeting we went to.
Yes, sir, that was a sketch and preliminary plat that they approved.
This is final plat. Goes to the planning commission and back to the Alderman.
Yes.
Okay.
Good Lord willing, you won't have to see my face again for a long time.
Well, I don't.
All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? Oops. All right, well, we'll move on. We're going to have our first public hearing, very similar process for the new members. All we're going to do is have a vote at the beginning to make it an official public hearing. So we'll go ahead and introduce the item and get in that. So item 4D is going to be a public hearing, Robert and Judy Parker at 3420 Groveland Road, parcel ID number 601-273-30050. They are requesting approval of a zoning change from RMH Mobile Home Parks to CH Regional Commercial. Danny Carter is the applicant. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Motion by Kevin, second by Marshall.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are all opposed. We are in a public hearing for 3420 Groveland rezoning. Is that another Elizabeth?
It is the property is 3420 Groveland Road. The applicant is requesting approval for a zoning change from RMH Mobile Home Parks to CH Regional Commercial. The property is currently vacant, and it is 1.14 acres in size, with a lot width approximately 207.8 feet, which it meets all the requirements of a zone change to commercial.
I just want to.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, wait, got lost track, but go ahead.
I just want to add, if you look at the city map on the first page of the report, down there in the corner of it, I think you can see that this is adjacent to the townhouse development that was recently approved, which is in the CH commercial district. Also, this is probably one of the last remaining mobile home zone properties in that area. Some of y'all may recall on the planning commission, I guess it was like 4 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when the larger part of the property, of the same applicant, was rezoned to CH from RMH, and subsequently has been being developed with the Chick-fil-A and the Chipotle restaurant. This is adjacent to that, so it would be, its rezoning would be consistent with that change in that character of that overall area.
And if I remember, and maybe I'm wrong, but did we rezone Harper Grove? Wasn't it RMH too? Didn't we?
It was a conditional use permit.
Additional use, okay, all right. I couldn't remember, I knew we had to do some kind of whatever for it, so.
Yeah.
All right, so does anybody have any questions for staff before we go live to the public?
Was there any reason why this wasn't rezoned when the rest of it was? Was there?
It wasn't owned, it was under a separate,
It was-
under
okay,
a different
separate
owner
owner.
at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, and Clay, just to expound on that, you may already know, but so only the city and the property owner can institute a rezoning request. And since I've been here, I think I've seen the city do it twice, so typically, but it has to be the owner of that piece to do it, unless the city takes the wheel for, those have been pretty isolated and pretty apparent cases when it has gone that way. The one thing that I do want to note, and we can get the applicant to address it, is the applicant here?
I'm his realtor.
Okay. So one thing that I don't believe is addressed is the question on the application about the two things that we need more than anything on a rezoning is change of character in the neighborhood and demonstrated public need, or an argument for a mistake in the original zoning, but I don't know that I've ever seen one of those. So if you can speak to the change of character in the neighborhood, Wade kind of already gave you a little bit with some of the, adjacent commercial that's already been developed. You have Life Storage south of you, so if you can kind of address some of the change in character that you see and just a public need for some new commercial in that area, that would be great. And if you can, come to the microphone and give us your name, and if you live in town, your ward number, and if you don't, your address, please.
Ricky Sutherland, Coldwell Banker Alfonso. I was the realtor that sold the property to Chick-fil-A and Chipotle. And
Where are you out of, Ricky?
Pascagoula.
Okay.
I live in Lucedale.
Okay.
So, I've been practicing real estate here 45 years.
Okay.
But we were real excited to bring Chick-fil-A and Chipotle to your city, which we could have got on in Pascagoula, but when we did it. This piece of property that had an old tin building on it and an old rusty fence. And the owner of the property, the Parkers, at that time, decided they wanted to sell it. So I immediately called Mr. Carter and said, hey, there's a piece of property just came up adjacent to what we sold Chick-fil-A. You might be interested in it, and he was. Obviously, it needs to be commercial, because everything around it pretty much is commercial. His intentions are, and my intentions are, to sell it for someone that needs a commercial zone. And we feel like there will be someone that wants to buy it being that close to Chick-fil-A.
Okay. So you're changing character, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're saying change of character in the neighborhood is the mobile homes have disappeared and the commercial has swallowed it up on three sides, correct? And the demonstrated public need is the growth of commercial in that area and being able to offer more commercial services in the area, correct?
Said it better than that.
Well, I didn't say it. Okay, any questions for the applicant before we go to the rest of the public? Okay, we'll let you come back up if you need to. All right, so we are in a public hearing for 3420 Groveland Road, changing from a mobile home park to a regional commercial, RMH to CH. Anybody in the audience want to speak on this application? Once, twice sold. All right, Mr. Ricky, I don't guess you want to come back and rebut anything heard, so I will ask if we're ready to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin, second by Marshall. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is closed. We get one final bite at the apple for the planning commission. Any questions, comments, concerns? And if not, do we have a motion?
Got a question for Wade, or for anybody in the planning staff. We don't even do our mobile homes anymore, do we?
No.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that was out there, because one of them is suitability as presently zoned, so that is one of the conditions as well. That's it.
Had a question similar to what you already asked, which you took my question, which is right. But, should that be addressed somehow in the motion, that the applicant address all concerns regarding the criteria, required criteria somehow?
My understanding is because our minutes become part of the record that goes to the board. So, I mean, we've done it in the past where we've allowed like the justification for changing character and public need to be addressed in this meeting to go to the board for final decision. So I think we're covered unless the attorney or y'all disagree with that.
That would be written in the minutes somehow, that
Yes.
the applicant furnished adequate information on the,
I can put that in there.
Yes, the minutes would reflect that the applicant talked about the change in the character of the area and the reasoning behind the rezoning.
Yeah,
Also too,
Yes.
when it goes to the Board of Aldermen, we usually do a summary of, basically what y'all agreed upon and, what y'all talked about. There's usually a little summary when we put it on Civic Plus about what took place in order to get to that decision.
yeah, and if there wasn't either a change of character or a public need, we wouldn't be voting to approve anyways.
Yeah, but ours become part of the record, so we have done it this way in the past. Now, ideally, it'll be addressed on the front end, because, that helps guide us. Good Lord willing, this doesn't seem to be as contentious as some rezonings, so, but if it was a bigger fanfare, for lack of a better word.
it's kind of one of those obvious things that
Yeah.
or applicants, they don't fill out all the ABCs of the requirements, so
Correct.
more of that.
Yeah, there is precedence, I believe, for us to do it this way, where we discuss it in there and it becomes part of the record through our minutes.
And just to understand the process, once we approve this, CH1, if the applicant, or whoever they sell to ends up building on this property, they have to have a final plat that also would come back through.
Well, no, they wouldn't. So if they wouldn't have to do a final plat. We don't, if you have the table of uses, and if you look at that, you'll have some, I think we're Ps and Rs or.
Permitted uses and conditional uses.
So if they do, if a Chick-fil-A comes next door to Chick-fil-A. Well, a fast food restaurant is allowed in a CH, so we wouldn't even necessarily see it.
Okay.
Now, the actual Chick-fil-A and Chipotle, we had to see, but that's because they had to divide it in two, and then it becomes a plat situation.
I got you,
But
okay.
one lot, one building, one application, permitted use, it won't come to us. But I mean, it's still gonna be reviewed by engineering, by planning, I mean, there's multiple layers they have to go
Right,
through.
we still have a design review process for any kind of commercial building. Has to go through the design review process that's described in the UDC.
Okay.
There's a lot of review by Public Works, by the planning staff, city engineer, project manager, to make sure that whatever is being built on that is consistent with our standards for what we want to see built. So that's the review that it will have. It won't be just a whatever.
They don't get to just go
It
build
just won't
tomorrow.
be- It won't be presented to the public, that
Yeah.
review.
Right, right. After this, as long as they live within what the requirements are, they don't have to come back here.
Yeah. Now, if they,
But
for
there
some
are
reason,
other
if
reviews.
for some reason they want to put multiple buildings on this property, yes, just like as Andy was mentioning with the Chipotle and Chick-fil-A, it would need to be subdivided into multiple lots.
Or if they want to use a use that is allowed upon review, so that's what I got tripped up thinking we had rezoned this property, but wait, correct me, we just had a conditional use, well, that's because townhomes aren't allowed in commercial without, like, letting us look at it and say, you know, that is a good place for townhomes, we got, you know,
Okay.
apartments across the street, whatever, so. But yeah, if it's a permitted use by right, then it won't come to us unless they start moving property lines. Good? Okay. Anything else? All right, well, I believe we're out of the public hearing already. Do we have any more comments? And if not, do we have a recommendation?
All right, I'll go for it again. Given the changing character of the neighborhood and the public need, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the rezoning of 3420 Groveland Road from RMH Mobile Home Park to CH Regional Commercial.
Okay. I have a motion by Kevin. I have a second by Marshall. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So, Mr. Ricky, for your information, that will skip next week's board meeting because they're gonna have to re-advertise for public hearing, but it should be on the September 2nd for the final approval. Okay? All right. Moving right along, item 4E, this is gonna be another public hearing for a, sorry, I got Yep, 221 Audrey Circle, parcel ID 61375036000, Lewis Investments LLC. Requesting approval of a short-term rental permit. Applicant is Valerie Lewis. Do I have a motion to go to public hearing?
So moved.
Motion Marshall, second Clay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in a public hearing. Elizabeth?
All right, this is for a short-term rental permit. Short-term rentals are less than 30 days consecutively that somebody can rent. This property is zoned R2, which is a two-family residential, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a single family on that property right now. The property manager is Christopher Dearman, which is within that 2 miles of the address, so it meets the requirements. An inspection was done by our building official building inspector, I'm sorry, and fire by July 31st, 2025. The maximum occupancy is 6. The maximum number of vehicles allowed is 4. We've had no public comment or any concern or anything like that. Mailers and signs were mailed out and signs were also placed on the property, letting everybody know that, you know, they were coming here for the planning commission.
Okay. Any questions on this one for staff before we go to the applicant?
I do. I thought we had hit the max. How did we get down to 54?
Well, we had a bunch that
Didn't
would not
renew?
call us back, would not, I mean,
There's something dropped off the list.
Some people that just didn't renew.
basically 3 months, we were trying to get a hold of them and nobody contacted us back, so we moved forward because, I mean,
Yeah.
after 3 months,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
So 6 of them did not renew.
That's 2.5 more months than I probably would have given them.
Yeah, so we tried to give them a good bit of time, but after hearing nothing back, we had to move, we have a good waiting list, and, we had to move forward. It's not fair to the people that are waiting and that are willing to move forward, and Mrs. Lewis was.
Sure.
Thank you.
Definitely no change in cap or anything, just a,
No, sir.
just a normal old, didn't renew, so we have openings, so that makes sense. You good? Okay, anybody else have anything?
Yeah, so last Tuesday night, there was some discussion about lowering the number of short-term rentals that the city had available. And I don't think they made a decision about that, right?
They didn't make on lowering the numbers. I think there was a moratorium, but
On new applications.
But the ones that are already on the waiting list
Right.
can move forward, because they've been on the waiting list, you know, some of them have been on there a year, some of them have been 6 months, so they wanna get what the allowance, the cap is, they wanna get that full, but we're not taking any new waiting lists, no applications, no nothing.
Or probably not last one, maybe 2 or 3 ago, y'all had given us a sheet, with kind of the waiting list and everything. That might be good to get to the new.
I can email that to everybody.
Yeah, so that way, and if I remember, it has all the current ones, and then there was like a shaded for, waiting lists and all.
I can email that to y'all. It has, how many we do have current, active and current, and then there is one that available, how many are on the waiting list, which ones on the waiting list are being in contact with to become one, so it's a very detailed list, but we can get that for y'all.
Is there a map? Is there a map where they're pinpointed on a map?
No, there's not one. I don't think, does Hannah have, I don't think there is one, no.
Just feed it into ChatGPT, it'll give you a map.
Wow.
Yeah, get us up.
Look at the addresses.
Before we call the applicant, is there you have anything else, Clay?
Yeah, I'm sorry, one more question. So I noticed Miss Lewis, she probably has multiple short-term rentals in the city. And I'm assuming that she's, like, none of these other rentals have trouble, any reported issues or
Well,
anything?
we do contact, records for police department, we do contact, code enforcement, and we also contact, I'm sorry, there's one more that I'm drawing a blank about, to see if anything like that, or, if they've gotten any 911 calls, or if they have open code violations. Nobody had any comments, there was nothing to, because we do check that before we come here. And we do that every year as well, before they will renew permit. We, check for violations and,
Or something like
police
that.
or code, so we do that every year.
Question, not necessarily related to this, but in general, does our code enforcement look at building, houses that are kind of under the table? Or, I know these go through the permit process, but they're still, I know seemed like we talked about that years ago, where.
You talking about trying to find the ones that are operating without a permit?
Yeah, how do we even address that at all?
It's kind of if somebody contacts us, then we let code know, and then they will, sometimes I think they put a stop order up on the windows before, if I'm not mistaken, but it's not, we don't really know until somebody brings it to our attention. We don't go looking for it.
Not looking on VRBO
There's a
or
lot of them,
Airbnb.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
so.
Well, the problem with that is everybody in Gulf Park Estates claims Ocean Springs, everybody in Gulf Hills, so then, it's hard, and then, they don't give you the address till you book, so it's like, we've talked about this a lot, and like, how do we do it, and so far, the
I'm not
best.
saying we'd be a
The
police
best.
force or anything, but.
Well, we kind of should be. Not us, and they do their best. They've looked at it 100 different ways ever since Carolyn was there. So, I know that there has been several instances. I think most of them are because the neighbor's like, hey, they're renting out, and I don't remember getting a letter. And, well, you didn't get a letter because they didn't apply. So, there's been several instances with shutdowns. But we haven't quite found, like, the silver bullet to go out and find, like, everyone in one fell swoop.
The real problem is Airbnb and Vrbo. You can't find the address of the property until you actually book the property. And so it's not like you can just go in and browse and say Ocean Springs, yep, that one's good, that one's, you gotta actually book the property.
And back in the Carolyn and Amanda Moser days, they even contacted Airbnb trying to get like an actual list, and weren't able to do it either, so if you come up with it, let us know. All right, anything else? All right, well, unfortunately Valerie didn't show up, so we're stuck with Brent. Did you want to say anything right now, or do you want to wait and see if anybody else in rebut? Gotcha. All right, we are in a public hearing. If anybody wants to speak to the short-term rental at 221 Aldrey Circle, now's your chance. Short-term rental, 221 Aldrey Circle. Once, twice sold. Brent, you change your mind? You want a rebuttal period? Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing? I got a motion, Marshall. Second by Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are out of public hearing. Any further questions, comments, concerns for staff, for applicant, for discussion? Now's your chance. And if not, let's try a motion.
Recommend approval of the short-term rental located at 221 Audrey Circle with an annual renewal and compliance with the City of Ocean Springs STR ordinance.
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Marshall, a second by Michael. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Brent, that will skip next week's and go to, what did I say, September 2nd? September 2nd for final approval. All right, well, that is our agenda items. We do like to give the public a chance to comment. If y'all need to say anything that is not related to agenda items, anybody in the public have anything for us? The board's way more popular than us, that's okay. All right, moving on to Commissioner Forum. Anybody have anything they want to discuss? I'll just say thank you again to the planning department, doing a good job keeping us in line. I don't know that we're going to see Wade much anymore at these meetings, so I want to thank Wade for jumping back in. We didn't even introduce our new director, so this is Amanda Cross, right? Yeah, I thought so. Amanda's had the misfortune of dealing with me outside of this before, but I will say that every time I've dealt with her, she's been professional, and I appreciate that. So glad to see you here, and good luck.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, thank y'all, and Wade coming out of retirement twice. We really appreciate it.
I've been doing this for a long time. I enjoy doing what I can for Ocean Springs.
Your third retirement's a charm. Third retirement's a charm, Wade.
You got it.
Yeah, I still have some.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Wade, because I've been with you on the zoning board. Appreciate the.
I enjoy all the work with y'all. Thank you.
All right, well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion Kevin, second Marshall, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, let's get out of here. Thank y'all.
And welcome. Appreciate y'all stepping
And
up.
I will get y'all contact information for everybody on the board. I'm sorry that wasn't on your drive, but I will get it, I will email it out, okay?
And y'all make sure new people give them back those binders. You can keep your paperwork.